online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Got my walking shoes on. Can't tell you where I'm going, but I'm walking down
this is so sad.
It's a little sad.
Such a sad entry song.
It's a great song, though.
What's up, After Buzzers? We sadly have made it to the final episode of HBO's Hard Knocks. We've been covering the Falcons through their entire preseason. And it's time for football, man. It's time for the regular season.
Yeah.
Which means
it's bittersweet.
Yes, which means it's the end for us. I am Christina Kaplan. I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Lyndsey Wegner.
Hey guys, I'm Stef Z, now a Falcon fan.
Yes, I think we're all Falcons fans now. I mean, we fell in love with this team. How could you not?
Yeah.
They're all so great. They're such characters, too. And it was great to really see the growth of these rookies and even the veterans, you know, starting a new season. So that was exciting. We opened up on this episode with our man, Jaquez Smith, and his, what did he get called for in the...
Unnecessary roughness.
Yes, unnecessary roughness.
Which is like every other penalty these games.
Right.
But I still don't think it was that bad. I keep looking back at it, and I really can't.
Yeah, like we talked about the last episode, the officiating was horrible in that game. So, I mean, can kind of go either way with that. But I thought it was nice of him, or I don't know if I want to say nice, but kind of like a respectable thing for him to go and apologize to Mike Smith for getting kicked out of the game and then address his team and apologize to them. I know, Steph, you had some different views on this. Well, if you want to expand.
I mean, I like that he went and said something to the coach. I'm curious as to whether if it was, you know, if he was a veteran, if that would have happened, because it's not like he got out of line and took something way too far and it happened. This is the third, fourth time we've seen him getting physical and not being able to control himself. True. So I feel like it was a little bit of a, like, I get it, it's a respectable thing to do. It's, you get thrown out of the game, your team faces penalty because of what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. But, like, that happened. So to me, it was I don't know how, I get what he was trying to do, but I don't know if it was, it rubbed me a little bit like, dude, come on. You've been doing this since the first episode. We've seen him, you know, mouthing off and getting physical with people. So it's like, you kind of by now should have known. So it's more so do it rather than speak it.
Lyndsey, do you agree?
I agree. I mean, actions always speak louder than words. If you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, what's really changed? But maybe in this situation, because he was ejected from the game and because that was such a big penalty for him, and like you've got that long walk to the locker room, then that does make you think about it. So maybe that is a turning point for him where he's going to kind of swap that attitude and get rid of it. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I do agree a little bit with you that
we don't know. I mean, we see later in this episode when, you know, he plays, I don't think he got any bad penalties in the last preseason
against
game.
The Jags. No.
Yeah, so maybe it did, but still, for me, it's a little bit like, it just, and I felt like you too, I forgot whose face it was, but I felt like some of the guys were like, all right, man, come on. Like, I felt like that was a made-for-TV moment. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, he's a rookie, so he obviously wants to, you know, create a good bond between everyone, and he wants everyone to think highly of him, and so I think maybe he was thinking of that when he did it, like, okay, I need to kind of build back up my character because he did, you know, attack, I think it was Joe Hawley, the center, in the first episode. They showed him in camp, and Hawley's like, what's this rookie, you know, stepping to me? And then when it comes down to it, he's in the game getting a penalty that gets him ejected. It's like, that just affects the team.
But that would almost piss me off more, because it's not like he's realizing against his own team. It took a penalty from some ref that we know is kind of a bullshit call to make him realize, rather than his teammates being like, yo, dude, what's up?
Right.
And Helly got kicked out of one of the earlier practice games, remember?
Yes.
So, I mean, there is obviously beef right there between the two of them.
Yeah.
But he was also, he's a veteran, and you didn't see him come back and go, hey, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for what I did. So it does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
well, Jaquez formed a little bond with our man Tyler Starr, and they kind of showed that throughout the episode, which I thought was cute. I shouldn't say cute. We said that in the last episode. Steph's like, we can't talk about football and say cute. It's like the worst.
Hey, no, who said it last week? Brian Cox, didn't he say it last week? He was talking about, you're not cute.
Yeah, true. He did.
Maybe if we say you're not cute,
yeah.
then it's
so
okay.
it wasn't cute. It was a great bromance developing there.
Might be bad too.
Yeah, I'm just not even helping
I think
myself.
it was really, I mean, we've talked throughout the season about the parallels, whether it be the rookies and the veterans, and this was good to see two rookies that were fighting for the same position kind of come together and almost bond over what they've went through and wishing each other the best of what's the outcome. And we see that, you know, unfortunately later, not both of them make the team, but you know, it was nice for them to share that moment and to show us that.
Right, and Jaquez even said, or no, it was Tyler that said, you know, Jaquez just had a baby, I have a kid, you know, we're both fighting for the same thing to provide for their families, like everyone on this team is.
Right.
But, so yeah, like you said, it was nice that they showed this rookie bonding to, you know, just the two of them. Obviously, all the rookies have been bonding throughout the preseason, but they kind of highlighted and they mentioned during the game against the Jags that there was one open linebacker position. So it's like, you know, it's hard. They're fighting against each other, really.
And it still goes to show that you know, like you said, the rookies do kind of bond together, but it is still separated by offense and defense. They're not going to get along, but these two guys vying for the same position are able to get along and support each other, and that's good. That's great.
Right, and another supporting system that we saw, Matt Ryan, he's such a great leader. You know, they show him in this meeting with all the receivers, and he's, first of all, you know, talking to the rookie receivers. Eventually he calls out Roddy as well, but he's such a great leader, and I think that's obviously the quality that you look for in your franchise quarterback. But to me, I just love seeing those types of meetings where he's like breaking down each play and saying, and he's not basically pointing out, okay, this is what you did wrong. He's kind of asking them, what should you have done here? What did you do wrong here? And quizzing them.
That's a good coaching method, because he wants to, you can't just shout, or, I mean, I don't know. Well, we were talking last week about how Coach Cox was just yelling at people pretty much. And was it Coach Cox? No, it was the other guy. It was
the special teams coach, yes.
And it was, I think both methods kind of work. I mean, I do like the tough love. Being an athlete, I've had it all my life as well. But it's also, once you get to that point where you're not, you know, being pushed to perform your best, when you're trying to regroup, it's not like, exactly like you're saying, it's not like you're wrong for this, because Matt Ryan wants to understand how his receivers think, so therefore he can get in tune with them so they can perform better.
Right.
It's not like your style's wrong and mine's right. He's like, how do we make this work together? I don't know. I'm a big Matt Ryan fan after this.
I am too.
Really am. He's a smart guy. He's so dialed and so focused. So it was really good to see. And every episode they had a little bit of him interacting with the guys. You know what I mean? In a way that showed, because he is a little bit of like a quirky guy too. You know what I mean? Like he's got his own.
Yeah,
like,
he's a little nerdy.
He's got a nerd side.
Totally.
Yeah, he definitely goes to his own drum beat. You know.
Yeah. He's a great guy. Another quarterback, our second stringer, TJ Yates.
Yeah.
We want to fast forward to the game against the Jags. He looked great.
Yeah, he played an awesome game.
Best game of preseason.
I mean, he really stepped up to the plate there.
Yeah.
He threw for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was connecting with guys. The bomb that he threw, who was it to?
That was to Antoine Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just...
And Freddie Martino. No, Freddie Martino was Renfree.
Yeah.
But Anton Smith.
And he he really stepped up. And
it was interesting, real quick, about the quarterbacks, how they started this game. It was like they had, Yates started, then Renfrey went in, then Yates went back in, then Yates stayed for a while, then we saw Renfrey for a minute, then back to, it was really interesting how they were doing that. In the beginning, I actually thought they were going to go every other series to give it to a different quarterback just to see, but then they kind of stuck with Yates for a little bit.
I agree with you, Steph. I thought it was weird that they flip-flopped so many times during the game. I mean, too bad we don't have our man Thaddeus here to explain a little bit more about it, because I don't really know if that's something that normally happens. I mean, what we've seen in the preseason this year so far, a lot of teams have been playing their first string guy in the first half or the first quarter, and then going to the second string and the third string.
Well, I think from the football that I've watched in preseason, it's usually they give them usually a little bit more than a series. They want to let them get into their groove and see if they get into a bad situation, can they rebound from that and come back, bounce back and stuff like that. But this maybe that was the complete opposite point of this, being I'm just going to throw you in and take you out and see how quickly you can get adjusted and perform. So but that's rare. I haven't seen that in a lot of the other preseason games. So.
And Renfrey played well too. Our man Devontae had his first preseason touchdown. That was exciting for him.
So excited about it.
Yeah. He's great. I think he obviously still has a lot to work on, but I think this is a great team for him to be with. And he's going to develop a lot as a player. I mean, we already saw he's going to get some practice, some time on special teams where he'll be able to develop his blocking a little bit better. He's got the running down. He knows how to run the ball. He obviously can score. He's fast, but I think he needs to just develop his overall, play, which.
I have a note that actually said they're going to use Devonta Freeman kind of like Darren Sproles.
Okay.
So he's going to go in on the third down on the long passing situations, because he is actually better at catching the ball than Jackson or Rodgers. So he's going to play on those series instead of the first and second downs. He's not going to be out there, but he's still going to get out there. He's going to get plays. There's potential for touchdowns and everything else throughout the season, and more for him to be excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We also had a first touchdown for... No, it wasn't his first touchdown, but Anton Smith. Well, it wasn't called back. There was no penalty on it. So,
and it was a 66-yard touchdown.
And he broke 3 tackles on the way. I like him. I like him a lot.
I mean, the rookies played great in this game.
Yeah,
they really...
Well, they kind of knew. It was do or die situation.
Exactly. They knew this was... Okay, going into this last preseason game... Obviously, there's going to be cuts coming up. We have to show that we deserve to be on this team, and a lot of guys stepped up. They showed Ricardo Allen kind of struggled a little bit. We later find out that, he got put on the practice squad, which is better than getting waived completely.
Right.
But
he had a great opportunity, too, for an interception. It just kind of, hit him right in the face mask and the helmet. It's just man, you got to catch that. You got to make those star plays the last game of preseason to any type of... If he's still in the bubble, they'll be like, man, look what he just did, you know?
But even Freddie Martino, who made that touchdown, that 67-yard touchdown, he got cut.
I know.
You go in and you
But we haven't seen a lot of him before.
We haven't seen a lot of him, but you go in and you see him play this game and get this touchdown and do well, and then get cut. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, I was a little shocked by that. It was almost like they were highlighting him in the game a little bit, and I mean, they didn't know. They didn't know how we know.
Yeah.
They weren't highlighting it at Hard Knocks during the game, though. They were talking a lot about him, and I was like, you got that.
It's tough being a wide receiver on this team because of the depth at that position. I mean, they've got Roddy, Julio, Harry, Hester, now Amsterdam. I thought in the last episode I predicted that he would make the team, and then he gets injured. So heartbreaking.
We'll find out more in 6 weeks when they go through that settlement.
Yeah.
So at least he gets that injury settlement so they can assess it in a few weeks when he's healthy. So there's still a glimmer of hope for him.
Well, if he doesn't get on this team in 6 weeks, he's going to be somewhere. There are so many teams that are lacking wide receivers, and he's the real deal. I definitely think he's the real deal, and he's a rookie that's actually going to perform. You know, sometimes you need 1 or 2 years. They get into they're good, but they're not outstanding. I feel like he's just going to go straight up.
I think on the right team he'll succeed.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know if that's with the Falcons. That's why. I think because they're so stacked with wide receivers and playmakers that I just don't know if he fits for the Falcons. But somewhere else, you're right, he's going to be a huge asset to the team and end up being the #1 or #2 receiver.
Yeah. Right. And
So
we just saw this with Michael Sam getting let go from the Rams, now picked up by the Cowboys. The Rams had a similar situation. There was extreme depth at his position on defense. So it was kind of like he's
on the practice squad, though, for the Cowboys, right?
Right,
Okay.
practice squad. But he didn't even get picked up on the practice squad for the Rams. So, you know, it happens. These guys, you know, you may not be on the right, it might not be the right fit for you because of, you know, the depth at certain positions. But like you said, Steph and Lyndsey both said, I think he'll definitely make it on a team.
Right.
He's got the talent, and they even said he's got the talent.
Yeah. It is really interesting, you know, how we get to watch one team through Hard Knocks. But if you really think about it, when they draft players and when they pick these teams, it's like, you know, these guys have been off season. Like, people's skill sets change, you know, day to day, no less off season to on season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Preseason. So, you know, the coaches can only do the best guess of what would make their team work. You know what I mean? And that's why situations like this happen. And we always have players move around because they're blindly trying to like make a puzzle in the air, and then they're like, oh wait, this piece doesn't really fit. It's a good piece, but you know, it fits better in this puzzle type situation. So it's going to be interesting what happens the next couple weeks. I'm sure a lot of players will be bouncing around.
Totally. And I even read an article earlier today that they were saying that there's some, you know, naming off a couple players from other teams that have been waived that the Falcons might pick up. So it's like you never know what's going to happen once the season starts, when people realize, okay, maybe we still do have some holes that we need to fill, and these guys will get picked up. But if we want to go to that first round of cuts, so sad. That was our opening song, "Walking Shoes" by Molly Music. That song was playing during the opening, you know, first round of cuts when all these guys are walking, cleaning out their lockers, and it's depressing. I mean, I felt so bad for them.
It is. It's sad. It's part of the game, though, and I really appreciate the way that Coach Smith does it. Like, he's very straightforward. There's no bullshit. It's just like, this is what's up, you know, and you know, it's like, even how he said it's the hardest part. Like, that doesn't get easier. It's kind of like having to fire people if you're a boss.
Oh,
like,
totally.
It always sucks.
And we get to see Ricardo Allen going out playing golf with his girlfriend and talking about it and discussing. We know this is part of it. In the beginning, you can't wait for that phone call because you know you're going to get picked up by a team, and now you're hoping that that phone call doesn't come in. But being prepared and aware of it, this is what they sign up for. There's a possibility that it's not going to happen. And I love the way that Mike Smith handles it. I think he's just so clear-cut about it, but cares about each player, and I think that's why the players respond so well. I don't know how the other players on other teams respond when they're being cut, but they're showing the guys, and they're all very, very gracious, and most of them now by this time all do appreciate it and talk to him more, where some of the guys when we saw got cut, they didn't say much. We saw Matthews, he basically didn't say anything and just kind of left.
Well, one of the ones that stood out for me with the first cuts was Cupcake.
I know.
I really liked Cupcake.
I can't do it very
but
good.
the thing that stuck out, not even you know, about him being cut, was what he said. He said, "I've grown as a man," and I feel like that's really what this organization tries to do. It's instill, like, if you're good outside, you'll be good inside. You know what I mean? Like, we've heard that throughout the whole rise up, the whole you know. And for Coach Smith to hear that, I feel like, you know, that's gratifying in a way. It's like, all right, this guy, he got it, and that's gonna stick in his head. So I'm sure he'll not help him or whatever. He'll get somewhere else, and Cupcake's gonna be okay.
Yeah, no, Cupcake and
Cupcake's gonna be okay.
And Nosa Igwe, they both said how appreciative they were to the Falcons organization and to the rest of their team. And, you know, that's what you want to hear from a rookie that's being let go, because
he gets it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the mentality that you want too in a player. When you're these coaches maybe that are watching the Hard Knocks and are saying, okay, well, we know he's got it mentally. Maybe if he works on it physically, because that was the problem too with Rumpf is maybe, you know, didn't physically put out enough effort.
Right.
But
Maybe I
knows?
want too many cupcakes.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Maybe that was the problem.
I had to.
But so, okay, we had the first round of cuts. Then they flash over to the rookies that are a shoo-in. Devontae Freeman, Rashid Hagman, and Prince Shembo.
Yeah.
And they show Rashid getting a little rub down at Massage Envy.
Yeah.
And they show Devontae in the recliner picking out his couch.
Which I thought was brilliant.
Yes.
Because it goes back to the beginning with the Freeman Douglas, you know what I mean, with
Yep.
the houses and him in his
in the
little
apartment.
apartment. And now he's like, man, I'm going to get me a recliner.
Right, exactly. And he's like,
Love
this is
him.
going to be perfect. Kick back after a game, you know, this is so comfortable. And he's like, yeah, I can't wait to watch the highlights of the Super Bowl in this couch. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So he's expecting big things from the team, which is exciting to see.
Yeah.
And then we saw Prince Shembo buying his mom some jewelry, which that's the best part. I always love seeing these guys taking care of their parents.
The generous
They're
side.
Especially the
Yeah.
moms, because I mean, I love my dad. Obviously, everyone's dads, you know, great dads, you're the best. But the mother, it's just they sacrifice so much for your, you know, as a mom, you sacrifice so much for your kids, and
You
like
just opened up a can of worms
I
in
know,
our comments.
I know, I just said that, and I have no idea. I have no children, so I can't really speak on that. But I'm just saying, like, taking care of your family in general, it's nice to see, because that's what everyone wants. I mean, I know when I become successful enough, I would love to take care of my parents and give back
Yeah.
to them. So it's, and the smile on Prince's face when
Yeah.
he's putting that necklace on his mom was just the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah, I think too it has an element of you have these big tough guys, you know what I mean, with their
Yeah.
moms like, here mom, here's this
Yeah.
dainty little thing like that, you know, brings this element of love and of compassion, and we all get all like, oh, it's great.
Totally. We bring out the soft side and
Yeah.
these manly football players.
Right.
But yeah,
It's
no-
like seeing Corey Bierman in the show.
exactly.
Tardy for the party, because when you see him on the field,
I can't watch
I
it.
know.
I'm sorry.
But when you see
I've
him
never
on the
seen
field,
it.
he's so like manly and but then literally I just saw the episode from last week where they're camping and he's just holding his little boy in his arms and he's asleep in his arms and he's just such a good.
It's called Tardy
Dad.
for the Party.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
It's kind of hard to.
It is, though. I know what
that.
you're
But
talking
it's
about.
nice
Like,
seeing
we
that.
saw that, you know, even the little glimpses that they've showed us on Hard Knocks of how the switch of that, which is great.
Well, you see that in all of these guys.
Sure.
You know, that's why I think I've said this probably like 6 times, but Hard Knocks is such a great show because I think you can sometimes forget that these guys have families and children and they have a softer side, you know, because these football players, they go out there and they're running 1,000,000 miles an hour shouldn't say head first, shoulder first into these guys, like
Right.
just crushing each other, this brutal, somewhat brutal sport, you know, and so getting to see the inside of their family life and how they act around their kids and all that kind of stuff is just, it's nice. It really opens up, you know, this other side of the team and the
Yeah.
players, and you know, it makes us just love whatever team's on Hard Knocks. Like we
Right.
are all Falcons fans now.
Yeah, I even bought a
It's like-
T-shirt.
I know. I thought about that today. I'm like, man, I wish I had a T-shirt too. Oh, I forgot my hat.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said earlier.
We're in a
'cause you
new
didn't know what I was
studio.
saying.
We're missing Thaddeus.
And
So
the
much
hat.
is wrong with the world right now.
know,
We're
jeez.
fine. What are you talking about? The world's great. We're doing fine. Come on, we don't need the hat.
We don't need Thaddeus.
Anyway,
Just kidding. Just kidding, Thaddeus.
Oh,
We miss
shit,
you.
you went there. But I thought it was really cool too how they again like circle back to Tyler Starr and you know, him with his girlfriend. Again, they showed that element and with the players being real and having families, they also focus on the fact that it's their job, it's
Yeah.
their livelihood, you know, like it's their paycheck. And you know, it was really sweet to see him all nervous too, and
Totally.
you know,
And they kind of, the way that they edited the show too, it made you think, obviously we
all
knew
knew.
ahead of time that he had made the team, but if you didn't know and you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, he's not going to make it, because that's the
They're
way they
making
kind of
that
made it
last
seem
phone
like.
call.
Right.
Yep. And and then every shot that they had of that guy Scott in the front office, you know, hey, it's Scott from the Falcons.
Right.
Coach Smith wants to talk to you, and you know immediately those guys are like, well,
I'm coming.
I know what this is about, and that sucks.
Well, Coach Coach Smith says it at the end of the game against the Jaguars, which they won, by the way. Yay.
Right, yeah.
But he says it at the end of the game. He goes, you guys are going to be getting phone calls. Pick up the phone. Whatever you're doing, if you don't know the number, pick it up. You know it's coming. Like, you gotta face it.
Yeah.
And what better way than to have Coach Smith call Tyler and say, you've made the team.
Yep.
There's things we need to work on, but you've made it. You're in.
Right. I mean, maybe that was a made-for-TV moment, but it was great. It was, I mean, I don't know if...
But it all came kind of full circle, because in the beginning we saw a lot of him, and then we kind of didn't see him a lot in the preseason games, and he was kind of like, he was like the silent one, and like slow and steady and everything. There was no like spectacular play. He made plays, but there was no spectacular plays or nothing that was like, oh, he's totally going to make it. So you kind of were... But, you know, if you look back to the beginning, it all comes full circle from when they did the backstory, and then he's there with his wife, and he gets the call. But so I think a little bit of that might have been made for TV. But you know what? If they made that for TV, good on him. Because that phone call, you could see it in his face. You know, like it was
it looked like he was fighting tears, you know?
It was
and it's
really
like,
a sweet moment.
It's touching, I wonder if Bill Belichick handles his cuts like that, Steph. What do you think?
I doubt it. I'll just say that.
Because that's what I was thinking, honestly. Like, when they were showing Mike Smith in those meetings where he's cutting people, it's like Mike Smith is a very
Belichick
nice
even
guy.
Does his own.
Right. That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering.
He's a great coach,
guys like Bill Belichick. What do you think he says? He's probably like, "You're done. Sorry, we don't need you. Bye. Next." You know, like, he's a man of very few words, so I can't imagine
He's
him.
like Donald Trump, you're fired.
Right, I can't imagine him saying much.
I'd like to go back actually and watch the other Hard Knock seasons and watch that last, final episode when they've got to make the phone calls and stuff and see how each coach does.
I doubt the Patriots would ever be on Hard Knocks.
No,
they would never.
Never.
They don't need to.
You think you really think? No, it's not even. Yeah, it's not even need to. Bill Belichick would never let cameras get inside the organization that might
or Tom
it's giving away
Brady,
way too much information.
Even though they stole other people's information, but no biggie.
Right.
Tuck rule, no biggie.
Hey, allegedly. I don't think it was ever proven, Steph. Come on.
I'm just gonna.
And quick correction, we were talking about the special teams coach. It's actually Keith Armstrong.
Keith Armstrong.
Brian Cox. Sorry, guys. Just want to correct that. So
no. Keith Armstrong. He was the one that was like screaming, just outrageous.
He was the one who said it's not cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not Brian Cox.
Speaking of Brian Cox, though, we can talk about him at the end of this episode where he's got that giant cigar. I know, right? He's great. He's such a character, too, throughout this whole season. You know, we've seen... at the end of, what was it? I think episode 3, when he's talking about the movies, he likes Best Man Holiday, best movie ever. Anything Adam Sandler's in, you know, he's hilarious. And then Thaddeus clued us in on what a great player he was too. Yeah. So it's nice to know all of that backstory. And obviously he's a great coach. We've seen, you know, his coaching style and stuff.
You know what's cool is that we see all these personality from these players, but if you actually really think about it, like if you're a football player, a pro athlete, period, like your life pretty much has been you being focused and dedicated to something you love. So of course, in those moments, you know what I mean, that are not those focus moments, like playing when you're off the field, you would think they are kind of happy. I mean, again, we've seen some terrible things from some players in the NFL, and we get it. Like, some people go off, do the wrong thing sometimes, but for the majority, I love that there's so much personality, because it is, like, these people are kind of living the dream. You know what I mean? It's like they're supporting their families, they're doing something they love, they're traveling around, it's like, what could be better?
Right.
So it's kind of, I'm really happy that they're not just a bunch of like pissed off angry people, because it'd be like, seriously,
right? But
what can you be upset about?
Right.
Yeah, but then again, maybe they're just not featuring any of those angry people on the show.
I don't know. Well, yeah, they're not, because there are clearly angry people on the show. Like, I mean, angry people in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I just think it's interesting that, you know, it's kind of awesome that so many people get to do something they love for their job.
Totally.
You know, like us as women, we don't have that opportunity. And I know there's many reasons why, and I agree with even being a woman athlete, I agree that some women's sports aren't as entertaining to watch on TV. Like, I get it, and I get why, but it doesn't, take rid of the fact that it kind of sucks that we don't have those opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, like, kind of awesome to see that they have these.
And to make a light of a situation and to make it better and turn it into something positive, like we see Ricardo Allen do with his family when he goes home and tells him he's been cut, and he pulls something from the word of wisdom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's, even on your worst days, there's a possibility of joy. How perfect and how fitting for that moment right there. And that's what he's doing. He's making it, he's like, all right, let's go in and do our best and be our best and look at it in a positive way versus being, you're still going to get to play football. You're still going to get to practice and suit up. You just don't get to play the game this season.
Right.
So let's talk about the practice squad. We have Ricardo, we have Sean Baker, we have Harlan Gunn, Taryn Jones, Freddie Martino, who scored the touchdown against the Jags, Kyle Miller, Bernard Reedy, Travion Robertson, Jaquez Smith, and Jerome Smith. So it's a 10-man practice squad, and these guys are going to make $200,000 to $300,000 just playing on the practice squad. So that can't be too bad.
That's more than probably 70% of people.
Oh, yeah.
More than that. Yeah, like
That's
I think
a
the
lot.
average minimum wage, the average job paying is like $50,000.
The average
It's like,
household income is anywhere between $45,000 and $70,000.
Yeah, so that's a lot
Household.
more.
Yeah.
A lot
Mom
more.
and dad, yeah.
that's crazy.
And then our rookies, like for example, Tyler Starr, the rookie minimum's $420,000. So he's taking home at least that much, which that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
So like you said,
play
Steph,
football.
22-year-old kid.
right?
Playing
Like you
football.
said, to play this game that you love, it's not like you're going out there, digging holes in the
Right.
ground and making up $400,000. You're playing a game that you love.
Right, but the flip side of that is the argument that a lot of people have that these guys get paid too much money. But if you
Yes.
think about all the money and the advertising and the corporations that are making money off of this, ticket sales, merchandise,
Right.
hot dog sales at
Yep.
the stadium, commercials on TV, I'm very happy that the players are getting paid that money because they're the ones, risking their blood,
That's-
sweat, and
yep.
tears for
Yep.
it. You know
You
what I
have
mean?
to-
So it's that kind of balance of it's in one minute it's ridiculous and ludicrous how much they get paid, but in the second sense it's I'd rather that than the money just keep going back to the corporations.
True.
I totally agree with you,
So-
Steph. I think, too, you have to look at it that they're risking their lives and potentially, these guys that are getting multiple concussions and can't play, and that's a serious worry.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
And
dangerous.
they're also providing entertainment for us.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it like
Right.
that, how many millions of people tune
Watch
in
Sunday
every
Night
Sunday,
Football.
every Monday, every Thursday to watch these guys play?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's
About the practice squad, who I was a little bit I don't know. I guess I really kind of thought Reedy was going to make the team. I know
Yeah.
they're stacked for the wide receivers, but even in the first two games, they're saying Speedy Reedy, and that the last game he was, took 4 or 5 punt returns. They were putting him kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit wow, he didn't make it. I get they have so many wide receivers, but
I know.
I was a little. Everyone else, I wasn't really that shocked about, but for him, I was kind of oh, okay.
I know I think that's just like I said before, the position is just so deep, and if you're gonna fill up a 10-man practice squad, you want to have an even amount of people, different positions, you know what I mean? So, and then also I think they're waiting to see what's gonna happen with Amsterdam once he's healthy again. I think he probably is higher up on the totem
list
pole
than
than
Reedy.
Reedy, which is probably the
I think he's
case
going to
with
go
that.
somewhere else, though.
We can only hope
Yeah.
so.
Either way, he'll be okay because he gets to, practice on their, solid group of wide receivers and only get better, or he gets to go play somewhere else and get more playing time and only get better. So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah, totally. So we'll see what happens with all of those guys.
Another little tidbit of information about the rookies. They've all had lockers in the practice facility, and now they get lockers in the stadium facility. So that's exciting for them to get
Yeah.
to move up in the world and be with everybody else.
Very exciting.
That's a good change for them.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention earlier about the Falcons are getting a new stadium, which we got to see part of that. And I just want to say, I love Arthur Blank, their owner. I think he's one of the best owners in the league. He just seems like such a
Hands-on.
very, not only hands-on, but just a very nice guy and a very a stand-up guy. I'm sorry, had to bring it up. Jim Irsay, Colts owner, just got, pleaded guilty to DWI, suspended 6 games, I think fined $500,000. All right, come on. Why are you driving, while intoxicated? Why don't you have a driver? You're the owner of the Colt. Come on, So, and you always see Arthur Blank at a lot of these preseason games. We see him showing the cameras, this new stadium, which looks like it's going to be amazing with the retractable roof and stuff. And
they have pools like the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh
Wait,
my
do
God.
they?
Can we talk about that for a second?
Will they?
No, I think that's just at the Jag Stadium, which I want to go.
That was insane.
I know.
I want a raft and a cocktail with an umbrella in it to go watch the game.
But what's the weather like in Jacksonville?
Florida?
No. Oh. I know what it's like now. Very hot, obviously. But what's it like, in a couple months in December? Is it still hot?
I usually go every year. Well, for the past 5 years, I've went to the Dolphins-Jets game in Miami, and it's hot.
Still hot.
And the game's usually, like this year, the game's, I think, December 28th. It's always that kind of end of the like it's either the last game or whatever the way our schedule goes. But yeah, it's still hot there, hot and muggy.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they would put those in if it was going to be cold at any point in time.
Cost.
Well, I think it was Brian Cox was saying $10,000 for a cabana to get one of those cabanas.
To get to
And
sit
how many
there.
people go in there?
They looked relatively big.
It looks like a suite you would get at like a Laker game or something like that where you can.
I wish the Jets were playing the Jaguars. Are we? I think we might be.
We should see
Steph
if we can somehow.
She's going.
I don't care who the Jags are playing, but let's just, if I can go and sit in one of those little pools and hang out in the cabana during the game, hello, that sounds awesome. And you know what I thought was funny too is I was thinking about it for a second. I'm like, why is the clear glass so high? But then I was like, okay, that makes sense because they don't want people falling over
or spilling water
splashing
over and stuff.
Exactly.
You probably have to we don't play them as the Jets. You probably have to sign a waiver to get that seat.
No, I would imagine you do.
If you drown because you're drunk and an idiot in the pool box at the game, you're just an idiot and we're not liable for you.
So funny.
Yeah.
But no, the Falcons' new stadium looks awesome. 3 years, I think he said, until it's built.
3 years. Yeah.
Which will be cool. And then he's like, Matt Ryan will still be throwing passes to a variety of different players under this roof, which
was very politically correct.
I know, right? No, but I love Arthur Blank. I think he's a great guy. One of the top-notch owners.
Well, and they're
in the
keeping
league.
Yates and Renfrey. They're both there.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 quarterbacks there.
Yeah, I think that's... I honestly thought for a moment that maybe Renfrey wasn't going to make it, but I think you kind of have to have 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was going to say, normally, it's kind of what if
one's hurt and you're left with one guy and you got to scramble and try to pick somebody up,
I remember last year when the Packers lost Aaron Rodgers, so we had Scott Tolzien. No, it was the other guy. Of course, I'm not going to remember his name. Seneca Wallace. Seneca Wallace came in, got hurt, so Tolzien had to go in. So we literally went through 3 quarterbacks, and I was like, oh my gosh. And that's when we called Flynn and got Flynn back on the team. But so, they have to have 3 quarterbacks there.
You guys just should have called Brett Favre. I'm sure he would have suited up.
I think he would have jumped at the chance.
We play UV
I liked when Brett Favre was on the Jets. I didn't mind that.
When he was on the Jets?
I didn't mind that. Because he still wanted to play the game. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. It doesn't have anything to do with the Falcons.
Tangent.
Well, we can talk about the final roster, and what are you guys' thoughts? Stef Z, I'll start with you.
I really think this is going to be a solid team.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they're going to do great things. Complete bounce back from last year. I think last year was a wash. I think they're gonna playoffs at least. I really do. I think that they've got the bond now. They're mentally strong. They're physically strong. They're connected. I expect great things from them.
I think that these first couple of games are going to be a little bit difficult, but I think it'll get easier for them as the season kind of goes on, especially with them playing New Orleans this first week.
They're going to win.
Baker being out, Matthews at left tackle. I mean, their O-line is still kind of struggling just to get everything set.
Yeah.
I mean, they had, last year when they played New Orleans, they had Matt Ryan got sacked 8 times, both for the 2 games they played. So it's definitely going to be a tough matchup this first week. But I think as the season goes on, their schedule gets a little bit easier. And I agree too. I think they're going to get playoffs this year.
Totally. I mean, everything that we've seen from their first string in preseason, they look great. They look really strong on offense and defense. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the main goal, is everyone stays healthy.
Right.
But yeah, the Saints this weekend is going to be a tough first matchup. I agree with you both on that one. I have a little bit of Falcons-Saints rivalry info here. So their all-time record, 46-43. Falcons have won. So it's very close. Where
are they playing?
You know what? I'm not sure.
Oh, wait, I can tell you right now.
Aren't they playing in New Orleans?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so it's like you said, Lyndsey, it's going to be a tough game. The Saints are strong. Drew Brees, I mean,
I just don't like the Saints anymore.
I'm not
I
a
can't
huge
get
fan of
behind
them.
that team after the whole headhunter thing. Like, I
me
just
too.
can't get behind
Yeah.
it. And I'm usually one to kind of let that stuff go, but I can't.
that was pretty bad, though.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
like
either.
people. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to start a whole debate, but people have gotten, a lot worse. And I think the whole team actually should just be, dissolved, to be honest. Like, it's crazy to me.
Really? You think that
Wow.
extreme?
I mean, you're getting caught that you're actually trying to hurt other players.
Yeah.
Like, that's really messed up on that's not what the game is about. That's not what you should be teaching. That's not what should be look at things like what happened at Penn State for football. And I know it's completely different,
Right.
but it's like, when you think about that, those players that had nothing to do with anything, that team, as an organization, the team was not allowed for 4 years to be in any bowl competitions.
Yeah.
So they're just saying, like, the team still played, the coach just, you know what I mean? Like, it's and a fine?
Yeah.
Like, it's so not what
It's
that
like a slap of the
organization
wrist.
stands for.
But-
It's just kind of horseshit now.
Well, if we're going to stay on the topic of that, the NFL as a whole needs to figure out the way that they punish for a lot of
a
things.
lot of things don't line up.
No.
Exactly. It's like, you
Like,
get 6 games.
Okay, Matt Prater drank some alcohol. He's now out for
4 games.
But they had originally said that there was a chance that he was going to be out for the whole season. And it's like, really? Okay, then Ray Rice can beat his wife and drag her out the elevator, and what did he get? 6 games? Was it 2 games?
I don't know. Someone wrote something about that today because of the Wes Welker thing. Something about 2 games.
Oh,
but
that's
I
right.
thought it
No,
was
because
long.
because now they reinstated a new policy saying that your first offense is 6 games of domestic violence, and then your second offense is a lifetime ban. And so the guy for the defense, I don't know, I don't remember his name, defensive player on the 49ers, right after they instated that, something happened with his girlfriend, fiance, whatever. So he's been out for
Which
6
is crazy
games.
then too, because so that punishment is the same as Welker, who got, I think, 4 more games. What did he get?
Welker got 4
Oh,
games.
it's for
4 games.
the drug
games.
use.
For drugs.
Yeah.
So it's
Amphetamines.
like there's so many things going on. And again, for me too, that's like, man, you've been an athlete all your life. Like, how does that not in your head go against what you stand for to take performance-enhancing drugs?
They think they're above it, so then it almost goes past. I think that's what it is. It's this I'm invincible type thing, so I'm not going to get caught.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're really going to get into this, we could say Aaron Hernandez. Do you think that was his first offense doing something like that, or do you think that there was a history
we know
of it?
that he was involved with that double homicide in 2012 as well.
Exactly.
Patriots, man.
So you have,
Shit.
yeah. Look at him making friends over here with Steph for that.
Yeah.
But like you have to wonder if this is their first offense, and it becomes, once you do it one time, it's the same with any sort of addiction. Once you do it once, you feel like you got to keep going back to it because you're invincible to it, and it's really, really unfortunate. But I think it's good for them to set more of a rule and more clear cut rules.
Yeah, they gotta
saying,
figure it out.
this is going on, then this is what happens.
Yeah.
This is the punishment for the crime. There is no gray area. It's black and white.
Right.
Well, honestly, I think that's kind of, what they're trying to do is figure it out, and I feel like they might not have a handle on it, and so you see these other things happening, like all these more like personal foul, calls from the refs, like you see it trickling out in different ways that kind of don't make sense. So it's not really about what's happening on the field, you know what I mean? Like, yes, we need to keep each other safe, stuff like that, but those little fouls aren't what's happening. It's the behind the scenes stuff, like the Saints stuff, or you know what I mean. A lot of the other stuff that's not being addressed that they need to be like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have not been upset, and I'm sure I'm gonna get all hate mail, whatever, from this. But like, I would have not been upset if the Saints organization was done after some of that. Like, how is that okay?
Yeah, I agree with you. So luckily, our Falcons are good boys.
Don't do that.
They're all good.
Better beat the Saints.
Yeah, they're all good boys. I hope they do. Honestly,
yeah.
I really hope they do. I think they have a good shot at it. I wouldn't say that they're completely, they're the underdogs. I think it's an even matchup, and it'll be really exciting to see them play in this first game.
Yeah.
So let's get to some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So I'll start with you, Lyndsey.
Okay.
Let's have predictions for the Falcons season. You can add whatever tidbits you want in, but I want to know. You already said playoffs, but expand a little bit more.
Well, Steven Jackson obviously coming back feeling 100% healthy, ready to go week 1, hasn't played any preseason. We've got this healthy team coming together. These 4, like we said, wide receivers: Julio Jones, Roddy White, Harry Douglas, and Devin Hester. So we've got literally like an all-star team coming together. So on top of maybe not worrying so much about the New Orleans game and thinking they actually could win.
Yeah.
They're all ready to go. There's so many different options, and I just feel like they're in a better frame of mind than they've been. I feel like this is I feel like 2014 for them is a really, really good season this year. Set up with the backups, with the young rookies that are coming in. I feel like there's really I can't explain it, and I think partly it's seeing Matt Ryan be so positive with the team, and Mike Smith just being a really, really good person that wants to get in there, doesn't want the penalties, is just addressing the issues as they come up and saying, we are 100% focused on that game. Yeah. That is all that's in our frame of mind, is that game right there, 100% on that. I love that. Like I said, I see playoffs for them, and just a more well-oiled machine this year than we've seen.
I agree. Steph?
I think playoffs, and I also think that Roddy White and Julio Jones are going to make their 3,000 yards.
You think so?
I'm going to go for it with them.
I mean, honestly, I think that's a great prediction because, like we said, huge, just the strongest wide receiver core. And Roddy even said, I feel like a kid in the candy store. We have all the best candy. You know, he's like, Devin, I get so excited when you get the ball, man. I'm just so excited, And so it's great to see that. Obviously, they have the right mentality. They think they're going to win, and that's the first step.
Yep.
If you think you're going to win,
positive out there,
positive vibes,
in.
Man.
Yeah.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Rise on
guys,
up.
This has been fun.
Super fun.
I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hard Knocks after show. Oh, so exciting.
So much
Go
fun.
Falcons. We can't wait to see what you do this season. If you guys want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, it's at Tina Cap.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner, or my blog, lyndseywegner.blogspot.com. That's LYNDSEYWEGNER.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IAMSTEFZ. Thanks for watching and listening.
Yes,
Thanks so much for watching.
Go Falcons.
Woo. Yeah.
Go Jets.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.